As a direct result of the awe-inspiring commitment from volunteer members, the League has evolved from what it was in 1919, a mighty political experiment designed to help recently enfranchised women carry out their new responsibilities, to what it is today, a unique, nonpartisan organization that is a recognized force in shaping public policy and promoting informed citizen participation at all levels of government. The suffrage battles, sometimes brutal and often fought in the streets by women garbed in iconic white suffragette attire, began to give way to the thoughtful process of how to widen their victory. The League led the foray into battles along two fronts: broadening access to the polls and informing the enfranchised of the rights and obligations of citizenship. Now that the levers of government were in more hands, what would they do with such power? Most women won victory in the decades-old first battle, the right to vote in federal elections, when Tennessee became the 36th state to ratify the 19th Amendment on August 26, 1920. In 1918, the Texas legislature passed and Governor Hobby signed a law allowing women to vote in primary elections. But although they had worked beside white suffragists to secure the right, Black Texas women largely were denied the vote. National suffrage activist Carrie Chapman Catt proposed creating the League of Women Voters in March of 1919 to finish the fight of ensuring a universal right to vote. Since those early days, members of the League of Women Voters of Texas and Austin, like their sisters and later brothers across the country, advanced the fight to secure blessings of liberty to all. Jessie Daniel Ames, first president of the Texas League, worked with her League sisters and with Women's Division of the Texas Council of the Commission on Interracial Cooperation to help Black women gain enfranchisement.
My name is Frances McIntyre, and I joined the League of Women Voters in 1970, which is 50 years ago. There was a definite divide between the poorer part of the community and the better off, and the voting places were fewer, I think, in East Austin, and people were not necessarily encouraged to vote. There was no effort again to.
From educating citizens about the poll tax of the Jim Crow era to today's voter ID requirement, the League has presented voters information they need to access the polls. The battle for universal suffrage officially began in Texas when the Women's Suffrage League was founded in Houston in 1903 and in Austin in 1909. Each era brought some new priorities as the world changed and the League's efforts on various fronts were successful, but themes of removing barriers to voting and educating voters stitched the eras one to the other. The women of the League, their moxie in action, began advocating for their own rights to financial self-determination. In 1927, the League, along with other women's groups, won a new state law giving women the right to dispose of community property. The rights of women to control their finances extended into the 1970s when the legislature passed laws that allowed women to have credit in their own names. Katie Smith, first president of the League of Women Voters of Austin, and other founding members tackled gritty issues of the day: prison reform, union rights, child labor, public education, maternal and infant health through Jane Yelvington McCollum's Petticoat Lobby, proving McCollum's words, "We asked for the vote as a right denied. We never said that women would improve the world, though in our hearts we believed it." Looking close to home, Austin League members for the last 100 years studied and lobbied for what form city government should take and regional planning for growth, transportation, and housing. League members look to the global community in supporting the United Nations, foreign aid to countries in difficult straits, and international monetary policy.
My name is Amanda Boudreau. I joined the League in 2017. Once an issue is flagged for an update, first we determine the type of update that we make, and it can generally fall into two separate categories. One category is a straightforward update where we're just making minor changes to it. We're sort of bringing it up to be current. The other option is performing a study, and that is really going back to brass tacks on a position statement when we feel that it hasn't been updated in several years, that it doesn't really reflect what's going on in the Austin area anymore. But we need to spend time, close to a year, understanding what that means. This is a really great role or group, or part of the League for somebody who wants to get involved in advocacy, but maybe can't make it, can't get out there in public and do it for some reason, can't make it to the Capitol to testify, isn't comfortable doing that for some reason, because these policy updates that we're making, that's what guides the advocacy group. So if you want to be involved in that process, this is a really good way to start doing that. And you also, I think it's really important to note, you don't need to be an expert in anything. We do ask that you're passionate about it, but there's lots and lots of ways that you can contribute, even if, to the healthcare position, even if you haven't been in the healthcare industry for 20 years. We have people who are great editors. We have people who can say, hey, I'm a layperson and that doesn't make sense to me, or if I hear that, this is what I'm going to think it means. And those perspectives are incredibly, incredibly important. So you don't have to be an expert. We just want you to be passionate about it.
Laura Hernandez, League of Women Voters in the Austin area, member since the summer of 2019. I'm hoping that I can bring other young Latinas or Latinos into the political process and engage them because I am someone that looks like them, I can engage them to participate, whether it's simply exercising the right to vote or even being engaged in participating with the League.
Yeah, my name is Quinn Untran. I joined the League around May of 2019. So I want to make the League more diverse. I want to make it really representative of a lot of folks living in the Austin area. So for me as an Asian American woman, Asian Americans have historically very low voter turnout, and that's due to a variety of reasons. So voting rights are really close to my heart. I'm a naturalized citizen, so I was able to vote when I turned 18, but my parents had to go through the process of waiting, of getting a green card, of getting their citizenship, taking the test, and when they were able to vote for the very first time, that was such a big moment for them and for us, because I was the one trying to educate them, letting them know about everything that was happening just because of the language barrier. And I think that especially in Texas, which is a state where there's so many restrictions on voting, there's such a big attempt at voter suppression. I think every Texan should be able to cast their vote, should have the information that they need to vote. And I think being involved in the League lets me really try to achieve that goal.
What stood out to me was the work that they do in the area of educating people about their rights to vote. And in today's world, especially here in Texas, when you see that there's so many opportunities for people's votes to be suppressed, or there's voter suppression efforts that may impact somebody's ability to vote, that felt really personal for me. I happen to have a stepson that is fully disabled, will never have a reason to get a license. International travel is not a reality, so there's no reason for us to renew his passport. So in order for him to vote, we have to take him down and spend the money on an ID so that he has proper ID to vote. I was raised with the help of grandparents. My grandmother had no more than a third grade education, so she signed her name with an X. In today's world, she wouldn't be able to vote.
I'm Joyce LeBombard. I joined February 2017, and I am the current president for the League of Women Voters Austin area. So the focus really is around voting rights and education and getting out the vote, because our democracy only works if everyone participates. There's so many places I go, and when I say I'm from the League, the first thing people bring up is the voter's guide. And to me, that really is central to who we are and our brand. Another role that we're starting to play more and more in is getting out the young vote. We've been really focused on youth outreach in the last few years. And in the Austin Area League, we have our First Vote program where we go into the high schools. And we don't just get them registered to vote, but there's actually an education piece to it about the importance of voting and why they should go vote. The importance that our democracy only works if everybody participates. I love our new mission statement of empowering voters and defending democracies. Every time I say it, I get chills. I just think it is so powerful, and I truly believe in that is what we are doing and trying to do. You know, we stand on the shoulders of those who came before us, and we have a very rich history, but it's not a perfect history. And so I think the thing that we are looking for that may be a little different than long ago is that part of inclusion of everybody having the right to vote.
And all of the work that women have done, whether or not they're connected to the League or not, but wonderful thing to watch. Go League!